Hey everybody. I want to ask you guys, what do you think? Do you think that all human life is going through right now the reset that we've seen through millennia of history that we can find about our species? Is it possible that we are nearing again that reset? But our focus is not where it should be. We're focusing so much on differences and color and age and all the things that really are irrelevant to the species. And I just wonder why. We know that Earth resets humanity. Earth does it pretty well, actually. Does a really pretty good job. It even gotten so close to almost wiping us out. Now, I don't believe the genetics, engineering, science crap that says we are on the verge of extinction, our DNA is too limited, blah, 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 blah. Because it's been my experience that in this body, not only does it have incredible abilities that we're not taught to use, like healing ourselves. We're told our brain will tell our body what to do, and for the most part, that is true. But when you get some serious damage, you have to help guide the path for your body to regenerate itself. And that I do believe. Why? Because I'm still here. I'm not dead and gone like everybody has been telling me I should be for over a decade. So, are we on the verge of a reset? Because I think we are. It may be engineered. I mean, when you do a little bit of the religious studies on their history, let me put it that way, because it is a history. All of them have a history. And the frightening part, or what the reality part, is how similar all of them are. Tibetan, Hindu, Buddhism, Muslim, Islam, Christian, Catholic, all of it. They're all the same religions in different locations, so they're given different names. But they all document the same events that happen about every 11,000, 13,000 years as Earth's climate evolves and changes. And I think that we have lost sight as to what we are to Earth. We see ourselves like a virus, very dangerous to Earth, very bad for Earth, and I disagree. We have first begun our tunneling like any ants or termites or other insects. Underground, in the caves, we learn to evolve there. We learn to turn the soils, so to speak, and regenerate them back down into Earth. And we do that still to this day. We've been doing it for hundreds of thousands of years. There are minds that are going back almost 2 million years all over the planet. So we have been turning Earth's crust and recycling it as much as any earthquake, as much as any volcano or any other world event. We are as necessary to this planet, but we're taught we're not. Why? I know I'm necessary to this planet. I know that when I die and my body goes back to this planet, and it'll be through ash, because it's the only way legally I'll be allowed to do it. And everything part of me should be given back. I don't want my organs kept. I don't want any of that. And if I find out it's being done, well, I'm going to haunt those people. Let's just put it that way. I am a little bit spiteful. I guess that's why I'm also still here. But I'm not blind, because I can see all the history that has come before us. And even with the dribbled down effect, where they're saying that, it's broken fragments of information. That's all we find. Baloney. We have ancestral lines on our planet that goes back to well into, what would you call it, hunter-gatherer times, prehistoric times. We still have that same DNA flourishing on the earth. The only thing is, what they're being taught is different than what we're taught. Now, I can see a big reset coming, and you know what? It's time. It definitely is time. And for those of us who are not going to try to adapt and survive to our changing environment as we've always done, then we will die off. If we are so reliant on big government and these comfortable lives. Now, Americans, I'm sorry, but we do have very comfortable lives, if you think about it. But this is what we're raised with, so to us, it's just normal. But you go into parts of Italy, parts of Germany, Russia, parts of Asia, where they're still not living off the government. They're not living off their leaders. They're trying to stay clear of the damage their leaders are doing. And that's really, those are the people that survive. So, in the Great Reset that we are currently going through, which they've been preaching about first it was Millennial Meltdown, Y2K. And then it was 2012, the decimation of the Earth and the solar system and blah, blah, blah. And then it's now. The harbingers of doom, always bringing a shred of truth. That's why your preppers go overboard. The only thing is, if they put it out there publicly, which a lot of them do, the preppers who have the most guns and the most number of people are going to need more resources than they've got acquired. And if the big reset does happen, there's not going to be a whole lot to hunt, not a whole lot to fish, not a whole lot to grow. This has happened, and it seems to be directly related to our leaders that this occurs. They lead us off on some spiritual quest of, we have got to, appease the gods first. Then it was, no, you just had to have faith and blah, blah, blah. No. Are you tired of going through it the same way? I mean, honestly. And getting Americans and foreigners off of the tit of America. Stop the suckling of grown beings. Our country might actually survive, because we'll get people back in power that understand the value of having enough survivors. Now, our technology is great and wonderful. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. I really am not that impressed. I don't think that it has gotten to these godlike levels. All I see is fantasy projected by this new technology that has reached godlike levels, but I haven't seen it in reality. And personally, I live in reality. I don't know about you, but my bills got to be paid. I got doctors to deal with. I got, everybody. Unless you go completely off, and if you go off grid and you don't know how to hunt, you don't know how to forage, you don't know what's good to eat, what's not, and you're accustomed to any kind of an American diet, like the majority, you're going to starve. Because the stuff that you'll need to eat, you'll be compelled against eating, even though it could save your life. So, if you're going to hoard a bunch of stuff to try and be the prepper, remember, no matter how many guns you have, somebody's going to have one gun more or one body more than the others, and they will take over and they will consume everything. Why? Because that is what history has shown we do as a species, especially during times of rebuild. So are you a part of the Great Reset? I want to know how tough you really think you are. Can you go out there and sleep in the woods for a week? Now, my grandson does this. He's homeless by choice, fighting his own demons and fighting mental illness and fighting a life of not understanding his own purpose. So he chose this life. And you know what? He survives. Barely. He's malnourished. He's not kept well. And he came from the slums. And the only escape he had was to go out and learn to live off what he could find. Now that is the human scavenger. That's what makes us survive. Are you going to be able to do that? How tough are you really? Because I hear all these woke people living in some fantasy world, and all these young people who are so involved in these games that they're beginning to think they're real. The Icefall. My goodness. For someone who has not watched Game of Thrones and all of that garbage, which I have, thanks to my wonderful sister, you wouldn't know that the Icefall is fantasy. Because all these things I see on YouTube, it's almost as if it's real until you click on it. You realize it's just complete animation by AI that's amusing, but has no fact in reality. And the truth about reality is your current environment. That's your reality. Can you live in it? What makes you think that you have to become something other than what you are in order to survive it, in order to have an identity, in order to have a viability, a purpose? Why not try being who you are? I am an old woman, and I'm proud of it. I lived 60 years in this society that is so decayed and broken and lost. And I have done it countless times without makeup on. I wore makeup for special occasions. The kind of jobs that I did, well, makeup was like a waste of time. You cannot scrub somebody's toilets and their floors and their showers and work with their kind of choice of cleaning stuff while you're wearing mascara that's running down your face. I don't care if it says waterproof. It has nothing to do with the chemicals that you're dealing with. And foundation is rubbing all over into your hair and your neck and your clothes. I gave that shit up years ago. Best thing I ever did. And I saved myself over $1,000 a month back in the 80s when I pretty much stopped using it completely. I mean, Halloween, special occasions, yeah, I'll do the... But I don't consider that presentable. Now, at times I want to express who I am as a being inside, you know. That's what I see woke trying to be. And I hope they succeed, but they're really putting up their own blockades. And throughout history, the woke kind of movement, the anti-human kind of sentiment has been the downfall of every single society documented under our history. And we ignore that fact when we should be understanding that as soon there's going to come a point in time we're going to have no choice but to either work together or kill each other. Now, I'm not really down for killing each other. I think that we need to keep our numbers as high as we can get them. I do believe that Elon Musk is right about that if it's humans that are wanting to explore space. But humans are not designed for space. And now we have some astronauts that have just come home, and they just spent almost a year in space. I can just imagine the effects on their bodies having to come back to Earth after being up there so long. Were they better off being left up there because they had been up there so long? And maybe sending them resources to start moving the space station to the moon, or closer to the moon, so that it could move with the moon. I don't know which would be best. That would be someone like Elon Musk and other space engineers to figure out. That would not be what my scholarly area is. But I can tell you right now, we got to clean up around our planet. We're doing so much damage. We do recycle everything, whether you realize it or not. Even our dumps. Our garbage dumps are nothing more than recycling Earth back into Earth. Everything that comes out of us, through us, except for maybe plastics, and there are some natural plastics. So I think it all, and I've seen plastic decay, so they can't tell me it doesn't. And it can decay just as fast as aluminum, about the same part. So we have a direct purpose on this planet, and we have stepped away from that because we've got sidetracked. And I really want to know, do you think you're tough enough to survive the reset? And when I say tough enough, that means you got to live in reality. I'm not talking about can you go out and kill somebody, can you go out and shoot a gun, can you stab, can you steal. I'm not talking about that. That's not tough. Anybody desperate can do those things. That's not tough. That's desperation. Are you tough enough? In the last 5 years, I've lost 13 family members. That does not include pets. To, the next level they're going to deal with. But are you really tough enough? Are you tough enough to survive the Great Reset without turning into the monsters that humans can turn into? And, as far as the other species that we're going to have to survive on this planet with, are you really aware how much we will have a predator force once again hunting us? Are you ready for that? Do you think you have the mind? Because it's not just the skill. You can ask any soldier. It's not the skill. It's here. It's here. If you're tough enough to survive and keep wanting to live and keep finding a purpose for yourself, and you're going to have to stay in reality to do that. Because you follow AI while living in this computer world, you're sitting all the time. You're dying anyway. So you're just doing a slow death. To me, all this is, it hasn't been a part of my life, to be honest, until the last few years. I mean, I dabbled with it here and there, a little Facebook, a little YouTube, but I never took any of it to full interest until now, because I'm spending more time in front of the camera. I'm talking more about how my brain works. And I can tell you right now, when they come here looking for stuff, if the reset continues as it's going, eventually somebody's going to come here and they're going to try to find what they can to survive. They're not going to find much. They're not going to find much. But what I have here, they won't bother with. at least not for a while. And that is how to live of this land, what to eat, what not to eat, how to find it, how to catch it. And mentally, eventually it would break me if I was alone, most definitely. But are you tough enough to come back to reality so our species can survive? Let Elon Musk, Trump, and all the pirates of the Caribbean that they call our Congress and Senate, let them war until they're done, as they have done in history's past. Just know the next kingdoms are going to be as savage as the beginning of the old kingdoms of yesterday. They will. And you will either integrate or die. Or you'll find your strength. And you'll hold your own with life. You'll face your challenges. Put down your makeup. You know, when I put it on, I call it the war mask. It hides who I am. I can become the emotionless powerhouse I need to be at sometimes. And I'm not always that. I'm a very vulnerable person. But I'm okay. I have a whole body full of scars. I have a whole life full of scars. They helped build my character, but they are not who I am. They helped me become who I am, those experiences. So what are your experiences helping you to become? If you're questioning yourself over gender and sex and color and age, and you're wasting your own living breath on a useless knowledge that is not going to bring you any closer to who you are, take the masks off. Be human. Feel your pain. Accept the knowledge that comes with it. Accept the wisdom, and don't ever allow your rage to rule. Don't ever. Because it will be always your defeat. Are you tough enough? American Granny out.